The middle class has long been considered the backbone of any growing economy. In India, this segment played a pivotal role in driving consumption, economic growth, and aspirations. However, recent trends suggest that this crucial demographic is shrinking, raising concerns about its future and implications for the country. Historically, the rise of India's middle class began with the economic liberalization of the 1990s. Reforms during this period opened markets, spurred job creation, and lifted millions out of poverty. By 2012, estimates suggested that nearly 50 million households, or around 250 million people, were part of the middle class. This population was characterized by stable jobs, disposable incomes, and growing aspirations for better education, healthcare, and housing. However, in recent years, the middle class has faced mounting pressures. One significant issue is income stagnation. According to an Oxfam report in 2023, the top 1% of India's population owns over 40% of the total wealth, while the bottom 50% share just 3%. This growing disparity means the middle class is seeing limited upward mobility, even as living costs rise sharply. Inflation has compounded this issue. Between 2020 and 2023, India's Consumer Price Index, CPI, consistently hovered around Fed, often exceeding the Reserve Bank of India's comfort zone. Essentials such as food, healthcare, and housing have become significantly more expensive, eroding purchasing power. For instance, the cost of private schooling, a critical aspiration for middle-class families, has grown at an average annual rate of 10% over the past decade. The COVID-19 pandemic was a turning point. According to Pew Research Center, the middle class in India shrank by 32 million people in 2020 alone, as families were pushed back into poverty. While some recovery has occurred, millions remain on shaky financial ground with little in savings or assets to cushion future crises. Employment trends further highlight the challenges. India's unemployment rate rose to a high of 8% in 2023, with youth unemployment reaching 23%. Middle-class workers, particularly in the informal sector, face job insecurity as industries like manufacturing and retail struggle to recover. Even in the IT sector, once a symbol of middle-class success, wage growth has slowed, averaging just 0% to 6% annually in recent years compared to double digits a decade ago. Urbanization, once seen as a driver of middle-class growth, has also created obstacles. Property prices in major cities like Mumbai, Bengaluru, and Delhi have skyrocketed, with average housing costs increasing by 50% over the last 10 years. Many middle-class families are forced into cramped or suburban housing, far from job centers, adding to their financial and lifestyle pressures. Government policies have had mixed impacts. Programs like the PM Kisan scheme and food subsidies focus on the poor, while the affluent benefit from tax breaks and incentives. The middle class, however, often finds itself ineligible for subsidies while bearing the brunt of indirect taxes. For example, the Goods and Services Tax, GST, has raised the cost of daily items and services, disproportionately affecting middle-income households. One of the most alarming indicators of the middle class's struggles is declining discretionary spending. Nielsen IQ data shows that spending on non-essential items, such as entertainment and consumer electronics, fell by 15% in 2022, reflecting the financial strain on households. This decline in consumption has ripple effects on the economy, as the middle class drives a significant portion of demand for goods and services. The shrinking middle class has broader implications. Economists warn that without a robust middle class, India risks slower economic growth, as consumer spending, which accounts for 60% of GDP, may stagnate. Socially, widening income inequality can lead to greater dissatisfaction and unrest, challenging India's democratic stability. Despite these challenges, there are reasons for cautious optimism. India's gig economy, valued at over $20 billion, has provided alternative income streams for middle-class workers. Digital platforms and remote work opportunities are helping many adapt to changing job markets. Additionally, government initiatives like Make in India and PLI schemes aim to create jobs in manufacturing and technology, sectors that could benefit the middle class. To reverse the decline of the middle class, policymakers need to focus on creating quality jobs, addressing wealth inequality, and expanding social safety nets. Affordable housing initiatives, reduced education costs, and healthcare subsidies could provide much needed relief. Targeted tax reforms, such as lowering GST rates on essential goods, could also alleviate the financial burden on middle income households. The middle class has long been a symbol of India's aspirations and potential. Its current struggles reflect larger systemic challenges that must be addressed to ensure equitable growth. The question is not just about preserving the middle class, it's about safeguarding the promise of India's future. Whether the middle class rebounds or continues to shrink will define the trajectory of India's economy and society in the years to come. What are the other reasons for shrinking middle class in India? Let us know in comments section and subscribe us for more such videos.